My favorite one has always been the seventh one once I watched it, and that's going to be the main idea and main inspiration for Freddy versus Jason Part 2. What's up, YouTube? It is Drive-By Movies with another quarantine episode of Sequel. My name is James.
My name is Blaze.
And this week, I am finally giving you a sequel to the 2003 film that everyone's been asking, why haven't we gotten a sequel? Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason.
About time. We've been talking about Jason movies, I feel like, since the beginning our shows started here at Drive-By Movies. We bring it up on Sequel, the movie, you name it. So just I wanted to get it out of the way. It's been brought up before, and finally what would we do with the sequel to Freddy versus Jason? Blaze, I can't wait to hear your ideas because you've been recently watching Friday the 13th sequels currently, correct?
Oh yeah, every Friday I've either been playing the game or, and I know the game's bad, but it just has like this jank charm to it. Or I've been watching the movies. I just finished Jason Lives. I think you said that's your favorite, right?
No, my favorite is going to be the main premise of this sequel, actually. But that one is not my favorite. That one's the one with Tommy Jarvis, where I remember he resurrects Jason at the beginning of the movie, and you're just like, dude, you should have just left him be.
I don't understand. He wanted to check if he was still there.
Yeah, he killed him in the fourth one, and for whatever reason, it's 20 years later from the fourth movie. Because the fifth one, spoilers, if you haven't seen these 40-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old movies, what's it called? It's not Jason in the fifth one. And then the sixth one, though, he brings him back by digging up his grave, and he stabs the corpse, but then a lightning bolt hits that.
I kind of love that scene. Shovel. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love that scene, and just his eyes are creepy, and his face I kind of loved the intro. I thought it was ridiculous, but also kind of cool. It had its own thing to it. The rest of the movie is just I like how it ends, where he gets stuck on the bottom of the lake. I like aspects of it. I think I've watched everyone. The only ones I need to really go back. Never mind. I still need to see Goes to Hell, Takes Manhattan 3, and then I think I've seen 2, but I want to rewatch it because I can't remember it that well. I know he has the bag on his head, but I can't remember anything other than that.
Right, yeah. 3 is definitely a good one. What's it called? Manhattan, you said you just watched. I do like that one.
Oh, I gotta watch that one too.
Oh,
so
there's
4 that I haven't watched.
Okay, Goes to Hell. That's the only one I haven't seen. I haven't seen Goes to Hell yet. But yeah, Freddy versus Jason, though, where would I go with that? So, overall, it's a concept everyone's wanted, and it was teased with Goes to Hell. Even though I haven't seen it, I know about the ending where Jason's mask is grabbed by Freddy Krueger's claws from hell. So I guess Freddy Krueger's in hell. I haven't seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, unfortunately. I've only seen the first 3, and then I've also seen New Nightmare. That is a series I do want to complete someday. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I have run the gauntlet on that, actually. Yeah.
So we're
those are. I would say that those are way. I don't know. They're both horrible. Actually, now that I think about it, they're both so bad. Thinking about it, they're so bad. But it is fun to watch late at night. The best Nightmare on Elm Street is better than any Friday the 13th movie, though.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So they definitely cater towards different fans, I'd say. What you're getting into with Friday the 13th. I prefer the sequels over the original. I always found the original to be the most overhyped and overrated one. My favorite one is actually, I'm going to be, what's it called? A little bit of this is going to be a big, unpopular opinion, but my favorite one has always been the seventh one once I watched it. And that's going to be the main idea and main, inspiration for Freddy versus Jason Part 2. But the seventh one is called The New Blood, and it featured a telekinetic character. Blaze, you just watched this one recently, right?
No, this has always been my favorite. I didn't watch this one recently. I watched it probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
but like I couldn't like officially say it was my favorite because I hadn't seen every one. You know, you're not really sure at that point. But I just thought this one was like a campy enough. Like I liked that it wasn't a summer camp. I like that. There's things I like about it. Maybe I've only seen it once, so maybe I go back and I don't like it as much as Jason Lives or something. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I'll just say like I do remember really enjoying this one when I first saw it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I mean, fun fact, though, about that one, though, is it was originally supposed to be Freddy versus Jason. Paramount was trying to work a deal with New Line to make it happen, but just it didn't work out. They couldn't get the rights like proper. They couldn't get the distribution rights like settled on who gets the money for domestic versus worldwide profits and stuff. So it just never happened. So it took a few years. Well, it took like nearly 20 years later to get it. But eventually we did get a Freddy versus Jason. Overall, I'm not going to ignore the events that happened in that movie, but there were some stuff that I just didn't agree. Like, why is Jason afraid of water? He was never afraid of water previously.
Well, it's because he got stuck on the. It's because he got stuck in the lake. I think that's probably why, right?
Yeah,
he's like a
cat. It makes sense. Like thinking about it, yeah, he did drown that way, and like he's drowned that way in multiple of the movies too. That's how the seventh one begins. He's buried under there and then comes out of it. But that was definitely just something that they said like, oh, it'll make Freddy have a upper hand on Jason. But with this one, I kind of want this weird team up though. So instead of getting Freddy versus Jason back when this part 7 came out, they were like, all right, well, let's do Jason versus like a Carrie like character. Carrie as in the Stephen King version of Carrie. With telekinetic powers. And I love that one because it just put Jason in a whole new light, and I loved him meeting his match technically. But I want with this premise though, it would take place in modern times. I get this college student essentially. She's the granddaughter of Tina from part 7. She doesn't know anything about her grandma. Her grandma has been dead for a while. Her grandma has been seen as someone like crazy and stuff. Even this our main character, her mom. Let's just we'll call her Gina because Tina apparently that's the granddaughter's name, Gina. So what's it called? Just she wants to know more about her grandmother, but her mom has always said like no, she was crazy. Would always talk about herself being telekinetic. It wasn't true and stuff. But as killings start to happen at this college campus from Freddy, this Gina character starts to fight him, but she runs away eventually, and Freddy sees her as the one that got away, and Freddy chases her all the way back to Crystal Lake, and that is when Jason is resurrected and stuff, and that is where the sequel kind of left off. I'd kind of ignore the fact that like it ends with Jason coming out of the lake holding Freddy's head and Freddy winks, but that's just for the sake of a sequel, and I feel like that's in true tradition of like all these movies, because every single time these characters die but somehow they come back, and that's just what I would bring. They just are somehow coming back. So I would just want to see this crazy versus battle where them two are fighting it out again, but she's at the middle of it. The main character, she's discovering these telekinetic powers at this at her teenage years in college and stuff, and she's freaked out by it, and she's trying to solve the mystery of what happened to her grandmother and stuff, and then eventually finds out that she still hates Jason. Might team up with Freddy to defeat Jason, even though I do love Jason. I have a Jason Voorhees tattoo right here. I've loved the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I actually say I prefer the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Are you going to get a Freddy tattoo?
Well, someday, maybe I'll get those claws on me someday. Yeah.
I say you just get an Elm Street sign. Like no one has that. Everyone has the claws or like the hat. Yeah. Also, you don't really want like a fucking pedophile like tattooed on you. Let's be honest. Just get the street. The street's a lot more iconic.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love that. Yeah. Coming up with tattoo ideas on here. I mean, yeah, being in quarantine, I was just talking about how much I want to get tattooed. But I'll just get like a more horror themed on my arm.
Actually, this reminds me, Elm Street, like, it's just a street where they're everywhere. Like there's always an Elm Street, where I grew up, there was an Elm Street that was literally 2 blocks away. So I'd always I literally thought that movie took place there.
Oh, really?
As like a child, I just thought like, oh, that's the street from the movie or something. Because you don't realize that there's literally a billion Elm Streets,
Yeah, no, as a little kid though, I mean, I always had those like visions to where like just like all these cities are literally just like it's basically my city essentially. Like your whole world is the like house you live in and then the street you live in, and whenever you explore the city you're just like, oh crap, like there's a lot more out there, but it's hard to imagine the world being that big. So I always imagine they still happen in my city technically. So yeah, I always like just found those like aspects crazy. So yeah, you're all good.
I dodged a bullet there.
But yeah, I mean, that's overall, I mean, what else do you want from this kind of movie? But that's just what I would want to see. I'm a fan of the Friday the 13th movies. I've got my shirt on right now. I love Nightmare on Elm Street as well. Like I said, I prefer those movies actually over the Friday the 13th movies. But that's just what I would want to see. I'd want to see this Carrie character or Carrie-like character back into it. Because I always felt with like Freddy versus Jason, like, who cares about the kids? Like, you want to just see them duke it out, but it's the kids pulling the strings in that movie, essentially. And that's kind of what just made it weird. Like, there's scenes where like these kids are like with Jason Voorhees in a van and stuff. I'm just like, no one's ever going to do that and stuff.
I need to rewatch. I know it's so bad though. I don't want to rewatch it, but it's like, I don't know.
It's got a crazy new metal soundtrack, and
that also is just so bad. Yeah. Like I think Limp Bizkit's on the like record. I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be surprised. But first and foremost, though, who am I going to bring back? It has to be Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder still looks fucking huge and menacing these days. What's it called? He did the movements, I believe, for Jason in the Friday the 13th video game recently. He still plays Victor Crowley in the Hatchet films. So he's still got it in him to play Jason Voorhees. Why not? So bring him back. And that was, I don't know why they didn't bring him back for Freddy versus Jason. I know they wanted someone taller than Robert Englund. I would love to bring back Robert Englund, but I get it. Like, he's also retired from the role. So
what about Derek Mears, like the guy who was him in the remake of Friday the 13th?
Oh, I mean, that guy was pretty menacing too. Yeah. That guy was really intense. And actually, I remember he's been in a couple episodes. Speaking of Hatchet, I know he's been on episodes of Holliston, Adam Green's TV show. But yeah, that guy is tall and very intimidating. But I would just want to bring Kane Hodder just for the hell of it, though.
I think he's playing Swamp Thing somewhat soon, or maybe that had already passed. I'm pretty sure Derek Mears is Swamp Thing.
Cool. That's I know that there was like I don't know anyone who has the app, so I can't illegally use someone's password to watch any of those DC Universe TV shows, but I remember there was like a Swamp Thing show on there.
Maybe it'll be on Disney Plus soon or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll have access to it.
Yeah. Was there anything that you needed out of a sequel, though? I mean, you said, have you even seen Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, I've seen it. I remember the dark meat joke. It's, totally horrible.
Oh my gosh.
The movie, I don't know. The movie's just, it wasn't good. If I remember correctly, I think I had the same issue as you, where they're just following these kids that you don't know. So you're just like, wait, what's going on? Because in all the Friday the 13th movies, I feel like the kids, or like the main characters of the movie, always kind of ruin it, because you're just like, all right, these guys are all gonna die by the end of it. I don't care about any of them. We're spending way too much time here.
Right.
Like it's only okay when you have Tommy Jarvis, but he's a different actor every movie, so you can't even connect to the guy.
Right, yeah. The only one I really like, I know a lot of people love the 6th one, but I mean, that one just doesn't hold as big of a special place in my heart as much as the 7th one does, because I thought it was the first time you got a character that you felt like you can kind of connect with and root for, because she's like, it felt like watching like an X-Men character, to where just like they're freaking out, they're going through like this weird state of puberty where they're just like, what the hell's happening? I don't know how to control this. I'm freaked out and stuff. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. So you're rooting for it. I think it's one of the few Friday the 13th movies you're giving I mean, a lot of people are going to disagree. I already know it, but I think that was always the coolest character. That's what made that movie most memorable for me. And so that's, yeah.
I was just going to say, obviously, like, a lot of people don't want to see like another character besides, that main title character of Jason Voorhees. But once you watch every movie, that one is the one that sticks out. So I think that this could be a really cool sequel, because, if it's a direct sequel to Part 7, New Blood, like that could be a lot of fun. Like for people that enjoyed that movie, I know that it's probably not that many people, let's be honest.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I hope it meant a lot to people who watched those movies. Like, it meant a lot to me. So yeah, that's just where I would want to go. If you're because you're gonna get pointless characters in all these movies, but if you're gonna get one that's like worth watching, I feel like this is the character to be worth watching, I'd say. I mean, I know you're not a big fan of the Halloween 4 and 5 movies, but I found it interesting having a niece of Michael Myers and stuff, and just like her running around, and she's actually the main character with those movies. Danielle Harris is the actress. I remember playing Michael Myers' niece. So essentially, like, you know, even though it's not the direct girl, but like her being related, you get some character development with that and like previous history of the franchise, and then just someone who can hold their own ground and actually push the plot forward by them not being worried about like having to deal with it. Like they can actually stand their ground and take on Jason and Freddy, even though they're not as strong, but like they'll be able to like live to fight another day. So that's pretty much it. I mean, if you think I'm going crazy here, be sure to let us know in the comments if you haven't seen Freddy vs. Jason or any of the Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street movies. They are so much fun. You're in quarantine, check them out. You can watch all of them through our Amazon affiliate links in the description box below.
And if you haven't checked it out yet, they are on Shudder. There are also, like, a lot of them are on Amazon Prime, so definitely go check them out there. But anyways, guys, smash that like button. That's one of the best ways to support the show. Also, you can subscribe by hitting that subscription button and click the notification bell to know when new videos come out.
That's going to conclude this week's episode of Sequel. Tune in next week for another video from us, Drive By Movies.